Portions of the following program were filmed in 1922 for release at this more convenient time.
1, 2.
Good evening and welcome to another program of Fractured Flickers. We have an excellent show lined up for this evening, including a takeoff on the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Oh, I'm sorry, that particular film hasn't been cleared yet. But we do have Ramon Navarro in... Oh. Well, there seems to be some nonsense about an injunction. So let's start with the funny bathing beauty scene that... It didn't pass the censor. Well, ladies and gentlemen, until we can find a fractured flicker to run, I shall entertain you with a series of dramatic recitations, complete with gestures and illustrations in colored chalk. Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more. Oh, fill the wall.
Handsome Oriental gentleman in white suit, now crossing room to table, is world's greatest Chinese detective, the beloved Yang T. Derringer, me, would like to introduce honorable family, starting with number 1 son, number 1 brother-in-law, number 1 black sheep son, number 1 dirty guy, number 1 noisemakers in neighborhood, number 1 garbage disposal, number 1 act at Bijou, number 1 investment, and number 1 me. Time now for most baffling crime, the case of the one-armed hatchet man. All starting one day in Chinatown, inside art gallery. Here, most valuable collection of pictures in world. One night, by light of silvery moon, sinister characters sneak into art gallery and dispose of night watchman. Sinister character then make a thorough search of premises until he locate most priceless painting to swipe. Alarm go off. People in gallery left over from 5 o'clock tour run for lives. Sinister character highly successful. Baffled, once again police turn to Yang T. Derringer for help. I was trying to take nap, but that not bother Yang T. from solving mystery at same time. I of course found solution immediately. I knew that crook left house, went out back gate, over fence, and back out gate again. Jumping into car, he went to art gallery and snuck into basement. I tell cop I know identity of guilty crook. Cop say, please give name, not no name, only he number 1 think in country. Cop not impressed with identity of crook, want name of picture stolen. Take it away, narrator.
Yes, one of the world's most priceless masterpieces was stolen. Was it Gainsborough's Blue Boy? Bluebarrow's Gaines Boy? Leonardo's Da Vinci? Good Old Shep by Van Gogh? A Sea Voyage by Rail? Whistler's Mother? Mona Lisa? Or Limbo Dancer? Most people thought it was Whistler's mother. It wasn't. It was Whistler's father, painted by Toulouse-Lautrec. Isn't that right, Toulouse?
Duh.
And now, a word about acid indigestion.
Oh, that's smart.
J.G. of Buffalo writes to ask, who is the greatest director you've ever seen? Well, J.G., harking back over 40 years of experience, a lot of people come to mind. But if I had to pick the greatest director, have you ever seen the traffic cop at 43rd and Broadway?
Men, is your wife a drudge? Perhaps it's all your fault. When's the last time you took her out for a weekend, eh? Isn't it time you did it again? Take her to a charlatan hotel where elegance is the keynote. Think how happy she'll be. Just the thing to revive her spirits. Charlatan hotels with their many locations offer you more. Just look at these exclusive features. There's the efficient charlatan staff, for one thing, who delight in meeting you at the door. Yes, you and your luggage get special handling at Charlatan. And there are rooms for every taste and pocketbook. Each is complete with private balcony where you can enjoy spectacular views. Wait until your wife sees our closets. Help! Help! And our semi-private baths for that extra touch of elegance. And our room service is second to none. Just give a call, and quick as a shot, your order's on its way. Yes, elegance is the keynote at the Charlatan, and there's so much to do. While the little woman's off having the time of her life, you can enjoy our chummy men-only game rooms. There are 3 types of game rooms to choose from. Another Charlatan exclusive. Evenings, you'll want to join the other black-tied guests dining at the fragrant Corral Room. Or perhaps you'll prefer the informal atmosphere of the Safari Room, where flaming dishes on a stick are a specialty. Then, too, there's the intimate Hospital Room, just the place for a quick shot before dinner. In the Arctic Room, you'll be visited by one of our scantily clad cigarette girls. And next, you'll round out the evening dancing at the General Custer Room. Then you'll be more than ready for your comfy Charlatan contour bed and a good night's sleep. Yes, the conscientious Charlatan staff will see to it that you get a full night of undisturbed slumber. Next morning, you'll be full of energy and ready for the new day. Wondering about your children? Well, thanks to the Charlatan staff, kiddies are never a problem with us. Yes, you're in good hands at the Charlatan, where our managers take a lively personal interest in the comfort of all our guests. The Charlatan's such a friendly place to spend the week. Worried about costs? Don't bother your head about it. You can go now and pay later. It's a lead pipe cinch to establish your credit at Charlatan. So why not join thousands of carefree weekenders all across the nation and bring your wife to a Charlatan hotel? It'll make a new woman of her.
Those of you who go to bed at a reasonable hour, you know you're the same people who have to get up at an unreasonable hour, are missing one of the most striking phenomena of television. I refer, of course, to the late-hour movie. So that you early-to-bedders won't feel culturally deprived, we're going to present our own version of such a program at this more convenient time, as we say. You will notice the frequent interruptions of the story for irritating commercials. This would be even more exasperating if it weren't for the fact that in most cases, the commercials aren't nearly as dull as the late-hour movie.
Darling, get hold of yourself.
Say, isn't this the greatest picture you ever seen? We'll be back in 1 minute, but first, a message from one of our sponsors.
Hello out there in television land. Knothead here. Let me tell you about a marvelous new alcoholic beverage called Old Stinking, put out by the Stinking Distillers of England. Old Stinking was discovered centuries ago by a master chemist. I suppose by now you know what you can do with Old Stinking, don't you? Suppose you're on the wagon, but your face is filthy. Simply dab on some Old Stinking. Old Stinking is available all over the world. Isn't that marvelous? And there's a stinking branch in your town, I'm sure. At least I hope so. Here's a chap and his wife out on the town without anything to do. He simply picked up Old Stinking and took her home. So be like Knothead here. I get stinking all the time.
Margot, you're a little fool. You really must get hold of yourself. Do you hear me?
How about this movie, folks? Isn't this another big one? And how about that love scene? Isn't that a grabber? We'll be showing this picture all week. You can see it on Monday night, Tuesday night, and on Wednesday morning. But right now, this important message.
This lady owns a Cecil pool, and so can you. A phone call will bring our crew to your backyard, and in no time at all, you too will be in the swim. If for any reason your pool should overflow, call a Cecil Pool man and get results.
Cecil Pool, Cecil Pool, Cecil Pool, Cecil.
But John.
What is it, dear?
I'm trying to get hold of myself.
I know you are.
Is it any wonder that this movie won 18 Academy Awards? It won for Best Picture, Best Acting, Best Scenery, Best Photography, Best Costumes, Best Music, and Best Commercials. Which reminds me, we got one coming up right now, so let her roll.
This blade has shaved 15 barbers. It is a blade, the most remarkable shaving discovery since the axe. If you, like most men, have a heavy beard and get that burning sensation, don't waste time. Run to your nearest store. Get a blade and knock those whiskers off.
That was our last commercial, friends. So now here's the exciting conclusion of our picture without interruption.
I finally got hold of myself, John.
Yes, but it's too late, Margot.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, our fractured flickers consist of old motion pictures with new voices added to them. Well, tonight, we thought that you might like to peek behind the scenes, as it were, and meet one of the very talented people who do these voices for us. Our guest tonight is not only a fine actor in his own right, but one of the world's most fantastically accomplished mimics. Why, he can imitate any voice you've ever heard. Of course, he's well known to most of you through his records and nightclub work. Let's welcome the man of 1,000 voices, Mr. Dwayne Jackson.
Excuse me, but my name is Paul Lynde.
Isn't that marvelous, ladies and gentlemen? Let's see you do Edward G. Robinson.
I'm not doing anybody. I'm really Paul Lynde.
You know, you even look a little bit like him when you talk. Can you do Henry Fonda?
Hans, I am Paul Lynde.
Oh, that's very good, but I'm sure our viewers would like to see some of your other impressions.
Can't you get anything through that thick Shakespearean noggin of yours?
Oh, don't tell me that. Jimmy Cagney.
No, but you're getting warm.
You mean he's not real? You're not Dwayne Jackson.
No.
You're Paul Lynde.
Yes.
No wonder you look so much like him.
Yes, I've had years of practice.
This is an unexpected pleasure. I thought you were on next week. Ladies and gentlemen, this really is Paul Lynde, actor, comedian, raconteur. You don't do impressions, do you?
I can do one.
Oh, we'd love to hear that.
This is my impression of Paul Lynde saying goodnight.
No, please. No, it's really such an honor to have you here. And besides, we have a minute to fill.
Oh, well, we do play Cat's Cradle.
But usually our guests tell us what they think of our program.
Hans, why can't we part friends?
Perhaps you're right.
Though actually, Hans, lots of people I know wouldn't think of missing fractured flickers. They'd miss it, but they wouldn't think of it.
Are you sure that you know what fractured flickers are?
Of course, you know I have a very good friend in Connecticut who used to be a silent film actor.
Oh, really? Who's that?
I don't know if you remember him, but his name is Aubrey Kenwood.
Aubrey Kenwood. Well, of course I remember him. We fractured an Aubrey Kenwood picture last week, didn't we? In which he played Richard the Lionhearted, as I remember.
Yes, and in your version, you changed him to a peddler of tainted kumquats.
I remember. Did Aubrey see our flicker?
Oh, yes, and just before I left, he gave me a little something and told me to be sure and give it to you.
Well, how exciting. What is it?
A subpoena. See you in court, Hans.
I will now do my impression of a full-grown man crying.
Gee, you look just like him, too.
This year's Fractured Flickers annual company picnic was really exciting, and we're glad to report there were no fatalities. Good old shop steward, the company cheerleader, led the gang in a salute to our swell boss, Jay Ward.
Okay, gang, how about a salute to our swell boss, Jay Ward? Let's hear it now.
Right after the giant pit barbecue, we began the games. First, a combination of chicken and tag. Pin the tail on the donkey. Blind man's bluff. And the guys in the film room played a friendly game of whist, for funsies, of course. The children of the Fractured Flickers employees played follow the leader, and the last one out of the pool is a primate. There was a softball game between the film cutters and the lighting men. Lippy Sync-Up beamed, but he'll be up and around in a few months. And the usual games normal American working folks play on annual picnics. Having made certain all his people were having a good time, Jay Ward, our swell boss, and his keen wife, Charity, got together for a spot of tea and playfully exchanged polite little pleasantries. The Fractured Flickers family of employees proved once again that the family that plays together stays together, and we're all looking forward to next year's annual picnic. Thanks a lot, Mr. Ward.
Why let denture breath cause your romance to fade, fade, fade away? You can be sure with Dr. Overbite's Better Breath. Mr. George Spavin of Jersey City, Pennsylvania writes,
It's great. And it doesn't upset my stomach much.
in clinically controlled tests, students of a leading Midwestern university proved Dr. Overbite's Better Breath 53% more effective than that other stuff. Better Breath is manufactured under hospital-tested methods, and our dental scientists check each precious bottle to maintain its high standards. No need to worry about close-ups. Stand face-to-face with confidence and speak out in the knowledge you're fully protected. Look for this familiar label on your druggist's shelf. Better Breath, now available in the unbreakable bottle. So don't let this happen to you. Dr. Overbite guarantees more and better kissing with one gargle of Better Breath. 2 gargles makes you irresistible.
Because of our occasional drawing and quartering of various semi-sacred cows on our program, some of you viewers have evinced some interest in the place of Fractured Flickers on the political scene. Just where do we fit into today's political spectrum? Well, actually, we think of ourselves as being violently neutral. Our opinions are colored a warm beige, couched in dove gray phrases, and delivered right off the tops of our heads, which are pale ivory. At any rate, to demonstrate our stand of fearless ambivalence, here is our first, and quite possibly our last, political announcement.
The following announcement is paid for by the Return Marvin D. Snark to Washington Committee.
Never one to have been a right or left-wing crackpot, Congressman Snark is known as a dead center crackpot. Long a clear-eyed man of vision. With an ability to see things in an entirely different perspective. That once-in-a-lifetime man on horseback. Long skilled in the art of compromise. Yet never one to take chances. It was Congressman Snark who replaced these expensive, outmoded, and wasteful defense weapons with the more practical X8 978D.
and the J52-456R. Both manufactured by his brother-in-law. The unique Snark Medicare bill forces all old people to have an operation even if they don't need or want one. Snark is first a humanitarian. The Snark Flood Control Bill provides a controlled flood in every home in America. Remember, while acting as chairman of a Congressional Vigilance Committee, Snark was first to denounce Calvin Coolidge as a Red. Marvin Snark first jumped into politics when he turned his only brother over to the Germans in World War I. 25 years later, in World War II, he equally distinguished himself by entertaining Japanese troops. Still later, he discovered he got a kick out of meeting new faces. After carefully weighing each staff member, party members began a door-to-door campaign. Housewives were hard put to counter the keen political arguments of the Snark supporters.
You will return him to Washington, won't you?
Will I get a bumper sticker?
And for the intelligent, perceptive male voter, Snark offered only the naked truth. Snark also had a magical appeal to the shut-in voter, who was as much a part of his victory as was the help given by big stars.
Voting for Snark again. What a thing to do. He will steal us blue. He can't help it.
And Marvin Snark did go to Washington, where despite his modest congressional salary, he was able to buy this house within 2 months. Today, as you, occupant, receive Marvin D. Snark campaign literature in the mail, we know you will read every word with great interest. For as Marvin Snark says,
Please return me to Washington. I can't stand it here at Leavenworth.
Now, for those of you who like to hear about the odd and the unusual in the world, Fractured Flickers presents Believe It or Don't. I know which I do.
Believe it or don't. Today's strange but true stories concern the suitcase that killed. Professor E. Eddie Edwards, the man who flew a tree. The disappearing runner. And the man who broke the world's record for waving bye-bye. The man who flew a tree. E. Eddie Edwards was on his way to Kansas City. Instead of catching a plane, nearsighted Eddie caught a tree that for some unexplainable reason flew. Off they went, across town and all the way to Kansas City. E. Eddie Edwards was on time for his appointment, and to this day does not know that a tree flew him there, even though his luggage is still in the trunk. Believe it or don't. The suitcase that killed. Coy Bagley and his suitcase hated each other. One day the suitcase ran away, but believe it or don't, Bagley never bagged that bag, for it was the bag that bagged Bagley. The disappearing man. Sewer maintenance man Billy Joe Anderson felt the need for a shower. Mistaking vanishing cream for soap, he went to work. Believe it or don't, he vanished and was never seen again. The champion bye-bye waver. This is Tippy Warfield. His job, waving goodbye to the ships being launched at Plymouth Harbor. Last May, Tippy Warfield waved goodbye until the sun had set in the sky. He continued waving throughout the night. And believe it or don't, at dawn the following day, he had waved 5 million times. If you doubt this, count the bye-byes yourself. We gotta go. And you just better believe it.
We'd like to stay with you longer, but all good things must come to an end. And besides, I'm double parked.
1, 2.
This is Hans Conried saying good night for fractured flickers and leaving you with the words of the French poet Baudelaire. Un repas sans vin est même chose qu'un jour sans soleil. Translation, oh, I can't say that on the air.